Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Hope everyone's having an amazing day today. So today we're going to talk about substrate, and we're going to talk about specifically black sand substrate and how to get this stuff super cheap. So substrates. Typically the main two substrates that I use are pool filter sand and the black sand that I'm about to show you. There are some other gravels and stuff that I've bought before, but these two guys are some really cheap ways to do things. I don't love the way pool filter sand looks, but some fish and some shrimp just show up better on that lighter substrate than the darker substrate. But I seem to find that the majority of fish and the majority of shrimp show up better on a black dark substrate. From what I understand, a lot of it has to do, especially with fish, is they will change their camouflage of the colors on them, so it makes it harder for other fish to see them. So typically when you have a fish on a light substrate like a pool filter sand substrate, they're gonna get a paler color so that they can blend in better. Whereas if you put them on a dark substrate, you're gonna get them where they're gonna be, a lot more of their colors are gonna be popping. Again, just because of that natural coloration. And a lot of it also has to do with the color of your background also. It's not always just the substrate, but I think the substrate plays a big part of it. And so, as you know, if you typically get some type of black substrate, you're either going to have to get some type of active substrate like a Fluval or a Brightwell or an Amazonia, and that stuff affects your pH. And then the other choices is to get some of this man-made black sand that you find like at Petco or PetSmart, and that stuff's like $20 for about a 5-pound bag of it, or if you want to get some black gravel. There just doesn't seem to be any great type of dark substrate out there that's affordable, because pool filter sand, you get a 50-pound bag for about $6, and that stuff goes a long way. And so if you have a fish room, you need a tremendous amount of substrate, unless you're just going bare bottom in all of them. So you got to find an affordable way to get it. And so the stuff that I've discovered is absolutely fantastic. And let me show you what this stuff is. This stuff is Black Diamond. This is a sand blasting product. This stuff is actually made out of coal slag. And you'd think coal slag, that probably doesn't sound very good to go in your tank. Well, there's tons of people that are using this stuff. I've got it in my tank for a while, have no problems with it whatsoever. This stuff works fantastically, but the great part about it is, if you have a Tractor Supply local to you, you can get this stuff for about $8 for a bag. Now, I'll list down below on Amazon where you can buy it, but it's a lot more expensive because of the fact that shipping, it's 50 pounds, so to ship 50 pounds is about $30 anywhere. So it's going to cost you about $50 if you want to buy it on Amazon. But if you don't have any other place, you can get it on Amazon. That way you can have some. But even at $50 for a bag, that's still only $1 a pound, which is still fairly cheap for substrate. This stuff comes two different ways. It comes really fine, or it comes in some bigger pieces. The bigger ones are the ones that I like to use. Let me show you a handful of this stuff. This stuff, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but it just glistens like it has like glass or something in it. So that's some of it right there. It probably didn't have a lot of light on it right now, but we'll go over to a tank here in a second so you guys can actually check this stuff out. But I've absolutely fallen in love with this stuff. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is, so when you're running a shrimp tank and you're running Caridina, you've got to run an active substrate on it. And what I use is the Brightwell. But the problem with the stuff is when you lay it all out in the tank, like let's look at some of it as I talk about it. So if you look at this tank, I've got the Brightwell substrate in here, and you see it's a nice cool black, and these yellow King Kongs show up really well on it. But here's the problem is this substrate only lasts for 2 years, and then it will no longer buffer the pH at where you want it, so you've got to remove it. So when you get a tank that's obviously going to be full, you know, hundreds upon hundreds of shrimp, it's extremely difficult to remove all of this substrate and put in a new substrate without removing thousands of babies, because shrimp babies are so small. And so I'm going to use that Black Diamond sand, and put that in the bottom of the tank, and then instead I'll take all of this active substrate and I'll put it into some of the small plastic cups. I'll have the same amount in there so that it keeps the pH exactly where I want it, but whenever the 2 years is up, it's really easy for me to just switch those containers out and I don't have to dig it all out. Because as I'm doing all these tanks, I have about 18 of these tanks now that have this substrate in them. I set them all up at almost the exact same time, which means in approximately 2 years, I'm gonna have to tear it out of every single one of them, and I'm not looking forward to it at all. So this black sand that I'm using now has got me really excited because it gives me a much better way to handle it. And I may go in there through some of these tanks that I have already set up and start switching it out while there are no babies in there. So let's go ahead and let's go to one of the other tanks that has some fish in it so you can see a little bit better how that black sand looks. Okay, here's one of the tanks that I have set up. Got a whole bunch of Dumbo Super Dragon guppies in here, and their coloring just looks fantastic off of this black sand. But again, you can see this sand just looks really, really good if you can see past all the snails. It just has just a beautiful luster to it. I really enjoy it. And the other thing is it really makes, like you'll see there's some cherry shrimp in here. It makes the cherry shrimp colors really pop. And over here I've got some more guppies. These are some sunrise or sun-kissed or I don't know, sun something that are in here. And again, it looks really, really, really good. And then some of the orange shrimp, their colors really pop off of there also because of that black sand. Alright, there you go guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you out a little bit. I hope this gave you another way to save some money and to use some really great looking sand, because I know with as many tanks as I have now, 70 plus, it gets really expensive on everything you do. So you're always constantly trying to find a cheaper way to do things. So I'm really excited that I was finally able to find this stuff, and I was actually able to find it locally and to get this stuff for extremely, extremely cheap. So if you got any comments or questions, be sure and leave those down below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, love for you to click that like button and click that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can see when I have new videos that come out later. So thanks again guys, and God bless.